So let's say hypothetically Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige decided to bring Patrick Stewart into the MCU as Professor X. How could they handle this? Should they even do it? And what would be the easiest solution or multiple solutions? Let's get to all of that. So I've said it before, Patrick Stewart said he talked to Marvel Studios, and in my mind, there's nobody really better for Professor X than Patrick Stewart. It's almost like he was born for that role. He got to play it for like 20 years almost, so it's a pretty good legacy with that character. Now, if he was to come back, could he and would he? And honestly, he says he wouldn't, but that can always change. Could he? I think so if Marvel makes a good enough story and a good enough offer. Now, this is where everything comes in. How do you bring the character in? Is it multiverse? Is it the Professor X we already knew from that universe? Maybe you could do that. I mean, Deadpool, right? If Deadpool is coming from that universe, he's coming with some characters. So maybe he brings Professor X over and he's just like, oh, you live here now, go find mutants, and there you go, there's Professor X. Could be a little problematic, but smarter people than me, which is plenty of people, could come up with a better way to describe this in like 2 hours plus, right? Another solution would be he's just playing Professor X, a new iteration of that character. If they have to de-age him, go ahead. The technology exists. Disney's perfecting it. They're the ones that afford it now for the cheapest because they're really at the forefront of it. And you have Patrick Stewart, you de-age him by 20, 30 years, and there he is. Some of you are getting flashbacks right now to X-Men 3 and that de-aging. You'll survive, trust me, just don't think about it. I mean, they didn't think about X-Men 3, so why should you? So I think that's another way you could do it. But realistically, why not just bring in Patrick Stewart in some sort of tribute, passing of the torch way? I think that's always possible. Maybe make him another character. Like, we know Kevin Feige is friends with him. Feige was there on set when Stewart was playing Professor X in the early X-Men movies before he went on and made Marvel Studios and wasn't there all the time. So, I think there's something here. They want him. Maybe they get him as Professor X, maybe they won't. There's multiple ways you can really do it. Whether it's the multiverse, whether it's a retelling of the character, whether it's a new version, maybe it's in the multiverse of madness, we'll see him, we really don't know. And Marvel Studios could pull it off. I mean, if the CW can pull off the movie universe and all these other multiverses meeting, why can't the MCU? So there's always a possibility, and I think somewhere down the road we will see Stewart in some sort of capacity in the MCU. Whether it's X or not, that remains to be seen. I'd like to see him personally, but let's give somebody else a try and maybe get a more Professor X-y Professor X. And by that I mean, let's not make him British, because for some reason they did that. He's supposed to be like from New York, I believe. I might have that wrong, I can't remember now properly. It's so ingrained in my mind that it's Patrick Stewart, I'm confused now to the comic book origin. I'm pretty sure he's from New York. I'm gonna go look that up.